In the quiet of his dimly lit room, Jason sat hunched over his desk, his eyes fixed on the screen in front of him. The glow of his computer cast a harsh light on his tired face. He had spent countless hours searching for answers to questions that had plagued him for years. His search, however, wasn't about self-improvement or ways to better his life, it was a search for escape. An escape from a battle he had been fighting for too long. Jason had been addicted to masturbation for as long as he could remember. It started in his teenage years, like it does for most, but unlike his friends, it didn't fade. It grew, silently, relentlessly. He told himself it was natural, that everyone did it, that there was nothing wrong with it. But deep down, Jason felt something different. The hours wasted, the promises to himself to stop, the endless cycle of guilt, none of it made sense anymore. And then, one night, something changed. It wasn't a dramatic event or a life-altering revelation, but it was enough to set his mind on a new path. Jason had been scrolling mindlessly through an online forum when he came across a post with a single sentence: "You will stop masturbating after you know this." The bold words were simple, but they ignited something inside of him. What could this post possibly mean? He clicked it, unable to resist. The article that followed was unexpected. It wasn't about shame or guilt, nor was it a list of reasons why masturbation was wrong. It didn't focus on the physical consequences or the moral arguments that he had read 1,000 times before. Instead, it spoke to something deeper, something more primal. The author spoke about the mind's connection to the body, the importance of self-discipline, and the power that comes with overcoming any addiction. But most importantly, the author described something Jason had never considered before: the power of redirecting one's energy. Jason felt his heart race as he read. The words were speaking to him in a way he hadn't been spoken to before. There was a profound simplicity to the idea. Masturbation, he learned, wasn't just about pleasure. It was about escape. It was about avoiding something within himself, something that was too painful to face. Every time he indulged, he was temporarily soothing the discomfort, but he was also creating a barrier between himself and his true potential. The energy he was spending on temporary pleasure could be used to build something lasting: his dreams, his goals, his future. That night, Jason didn't sleep much. His mind raced with the possibilities. What if he could redirect that energy? What if, instead of seeking temporary satisfaction, he could focus on something that would actually bring him fulfillment? He began to understand that masturbation had become a crutch, a way of avoiding deeper emotions and a life he hadn't fully embraced. It wasn't just about the physical act, it was about everything else. The loneliness, the lack of purpose, the unresolved fears and insecurities. The next few weeks weren't easy. Jason knew he was starting something monumental, but it felt like he was fighting an invisible force. The temptation was still there, lurking, ready to pull him back into the same cycle. But each time he felt the urge, he paused, reflecting on what he had learned. He began to ask himself, what would I be doing with this energy if I wasn't spending it this way? And every time, the answer came back stronger: I would be creating something better. Slowly, but surely, Jason's life began to shift. He found himself waking up earlier, feeling more energized, and finally making progress on the projects he had abandoned long ago. He started exercising, eating better, and connecting more deeply with the people around him. He even began to face the underlying issues that had once driven him to seek comfort in his addiction. He reached out to a therapist, started journaling, and allowed himself to feel things he had long suppressed. For the first time in years, he felt like he was truly living. One evening, Jason sat on his bed, reflecting on the journey he had taken. He remembered the post he had read, the words that had pulled him out of the darkness, and he realized something profound. The key to stopping wasn't about denying himself pleasure, it was about understanding the deeper purpose behind the actions. Masturbation, like any addiction, was a way to avoid something. But facing those emotions, those fears, and embracing the discomfort had been the true path to freedom. Jason's story isn't unique. Many of us find ourselves caught in cycles of comfort and escape. Whether it's masturbation, unhealthy habits, or other vices, we all have something we turn to when life gets too hard. But the truth is, we don't have to stay trapped. The power to break free lies within us all. It's about redirecting our energy, facing the discomfort, and choosing to create something meaningful with the life we've been given. As Jason continued to grow, he realized the true lesson wasn't just about quitting an old habit. It was about reclaiming his power, his purpose, and his life. And in that moment, he knew, if you can stop seeking temporary satisfaction, you can achieve anything. Jason was no longer bound by his past. He had found something more rewarding, a sense of inner peace, purpose, and the strength to face life head-on.